of the people he is leading. He is interested not in creating milking cows for himself and get out to the people like the Reverend Jim Jones in Jonestown from Guyana. This Jim Jones had created the cult of Christians. This man in America created his own church. And when he created his own church, he was in certain malpractices, doing something wrong. He was exploiting the people. And before the American government could catch him, he felt it advisable that he should commit suicide and make every one of his followers to commit suicide. So in Jonestown, Guyana, there was 100% wholesale suicides. He was great. Also, look if you can inspire 100% of people to drink lemonade laced to cyanide, knowing full that that is so. 100% successful, then that is really great. But he was caught. In the meantime, it was found out that he had salted away in the banks of the world $15 million in his own account. So you see that Maserman says that the leader must be worried about the welfare of the people. Number 2, whoever that leader is, he must provide social organization in which the people feel relatively secure. Unlike the Marxists, the fascists, the Nazi, the neo-Nazi, the Ashkenazi. That is the Jews from Germany, Central Europe, Eastern Europe, and mostly from Russia, who are in unlawful occupation of Palestine. And number 3, that leader must provide for the unity of belief. As people as a whole, we have many varied differences. You know the Barelvi, the Deobandi, the Sunni, the Shia, and on and on. You know them well. But basically, we are all agreed on this kalima. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. This is the unity of belief. With these 3 standards, he searches history and he analyzes Louis Pasteur, the man who discovered the microbes. And he analyzes Mahatma Gandhi, Hitler, Mussolini, and Jesus, and Moses, and Muhammad, peace be upon him. And he comes to a conclusion that perhaps the greatest leader of all time was Muhammad. This view is paid off by the American government, a professor in the Chicago University, and a psychoanalyst. He says, perhaps the greatest leader of all time was Muhammad, and to a lesser degree, whatever Muhammad did, Moses did the same. His own hero number 2, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, number 1. I'm asking account for this. Why would this Jew go out of his way to do such thing? By going back in history, Lamartine, a French historian, in 1854, he wrote a book, History of Turks, in French. The Turks being Muslims. Incidentally, they are Muslims. Not very good Muslims at the moment, but very good Muslims at the forefront battle of Islam. We looked up to them for decades. He wrote about a Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He gives 3 standards. Jules Maserman gives 3 standards. Now this man, Lamartine, gives other 3 standards. He says, if greatness of purpose, smallness of means, and outstanding results are the 3 main criteria of human greatness, then who could dare to compare any great man in history with Muhammad? He is daring his people, bring your candidates, anybody to compare with this man, Muhammad. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Anbiya, chapter number 21, verse number 107. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We sent thee, not but as a mercy for all creatures. To the animal kingdom, the vegetable kingdom, for the whole of humanity, for everything in nature. He is Rahmatul Alameen. Greatness of purpose, smallness of means, with what he starts. Before he is born, his father dies. He is an orphan. By the time he is 6, his mother dies. Doubly orphan. By the time he is 6, his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, looks after him. And very soon he dies. Then who is looking after? His uncle, Abu Talib. No education, nothing. No political power backing up. No royalty backing up, nothing. This is the capital with which he starts. Smallest of means and outstanding results. 1,000 million people today who believe in him and are ready to live by his words. If these are the 3 main criteria of human greatness, he says, then who could dare to compare any great man in modern history with Muhammad. Bring your candidates. And he ends up with a beautiful tribute in his book by saying, philosopher, orator, apostle, legislator, warrior, conqueror of ideas, the restorer of rational beliefs, of a cult without images, the founder of 20 terrestrial empires and one spiritual empire, that is Muhammad. With regards to all standards by human greatness are measured. He said, ask, is there any man greater than him? He is asking, is there any man greater than he? And the answer is reposing the question. In other words, no man greater than Muhammad. The greatest man ever lived is Muhammad. I'm asking, who bribed Lamartine? Because this was in 1854, when the whole Muslim world was under subjugation. We were all under subjugation, except 3 or 4 nominally independent countries, like Afghanistan and maybe Iran. 3 or 4 nominally independent nations. We were almost subjugated. Indonesia was under the Dutch. Malaysia was under the British. Mozambique was under the Portuguese. Egypt was under the British. Syria was under the French. We were almost subjugated. Our own motherland. Handful of people were occupying Pondicherry, the French. Another handful Goa, the Portuguese. Every place where the Muslims were living, everybody was under subjugation. I'm asking, who bribed Lamartine? Why did he say all those things about Muhammad, peace be upon him? And some 14 years before him, Thomas Carlyle, one of the greatest thinkers of past century, delivered a series of talks under the theme, Heroes and Hero Worship in Mankind. Heroes and hero worship. And his hero, he chose Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as his hero prophet. Not Moses, not David, not Solomon, not Jesus, but Muhammad, peace be upon him, as his hero prophet. And this was a time in the history of Europe when it was sacrilege for anybody to speak anything good about Muhammad, peace be upon him, because the people would hate that man and his religion. He pays a tribute to the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and Islam. He says, the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Muhammad, peace be upon him, it was like a birth from darkness into light. Arabia became alive first. It became alive by means of it.